I am back with Alex from Podcast Now, whose channels I will have down in the description. Good friend of mine. We are talking about Kingdom Hearts today, and we are talking about kind of the frustrating experience of being a Kingdom Hearts fan. Now, at the end of the day, let me stop you before you get upset. I know that there's plenty of different things and different franchises that it's more frustrating to be a fan of. If you're a fan of like F-Zero, Kid Icarus, Star Fox, you're not getting anything these days, and I understand that. But with, Kingdom Hearts, I think that overall it's been a uniquely back and forth situation of like games being delisted, games being unavailable, weird news drops, lack of updates that have really frustrated a lot of people for many years. I would argue probably since the PS2 era of Kingdom Hearts 2's launch. It's just been very all over the place. So Alex, I want to thank you for being here today to talk to me about this. We're both huge Kingdom Hearts fans. I know you cover it on Podcast Now as well.
Yes, of course. Well, thank you for having me. And it's a franchise that's given us so much, but has also messed with us so much, honestly.
Yeah, so I think the first thing to look at, and it's kind of opposite of the way I told you when we were talking about it ahead of time, but I think we should take a look at the most recent developments first, probably. Because it's this year, right? Like, it's 2024, we're ending the year. Some of the things that have happened in 2024 for the franchise have been frustrating. So first off, you did have games being delisted like Kingdom Hearts Dark Road, which was on mobile, which was actually very important to the story of Xehanort. It was very important to, that saga. And it's not the first time that it's been hard to access, or now impossible to access, a game in that saga. Another one was Union Cross, which did have a lot of story. That was tied to Dark Road. So it's like when you're delisting Dark Road, you're also pulling the cutscenes, I believe, from that. I still have it. People who had it on their account could still re-download it, but like you couldn't get new downloads of it. So you're losing a lot of story and different elements of that universe in its earliest days that have been shown to us. And so you're losing a lot of that Xehanort origin and a lot of that different stuff that tied into that original Kingdom Hearts trilogy era. So I want to know what you thought about that, Alex, because I thought it was a really weird year for that.
Well, and then it goes more towards the arc of Kingdom Hearts 4 too, with like the foretellers and stuff. So like there's quite a bit there that, and then they, like you said, like a little bit of a combination with those two kind of being folded into each other almost. So yeah, you never like to see it. You never like to see delistings. And then the popular theory at the time was that, well, maybe they could just fold it into Missing Link, which I do kind of buy that idea. I think that does make sense. The issue is when you delist these, I think that was towards the first half of the year, right? You delist them, and then Missing Link is literally missing. That's obviously the fun Kingdom Hearts joke we have. And maybe it comes out next year. And so when you have such bad communication for that mobile game, and then you might need that for the old ones, right? It's to kind of fold them all into one. It's a terrible situation, especially because, and even Missing Link, like these are games not just with Xehanort, but very important to, I guess, the deeper lore that you're probably going to need for Kingdom Hearts 4 as well.
Yeah, I think it's really unfortunate to see that with it being delisted and with that lore mattering. And actually, you pointed out something right there, Missing Link. Missing Link was just straight up delayed, but there wasn't really communication around it. There was the supposed launch of it happening in 2024, but then as time went on, it was like, okay, well, we're running out of 2024. Where is it? And I don't believe we heard about it until, what was it, late November, Alex?
Yeah, there was a couple pop-ups where it would do like the like limited time, like you had to be in certain areas of like Japan, and then you could play it like early access, like testing, I guess I should say. That happened a few times, I think this year, maybe it was late last year, and then like you said, like we were literally running out of the year. The year was ending, and then they literally just dropped the news that it's delayed. And before that was like 4 or 5 months at least of just absolutely nothing.
Yeah, well, and absolutely nothing has been, unfortunately, I don't know if it's a Square Enix thing. I don't know. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on that, because like Square Enix has never been great at updating the consumer. They've never been great at telling you what's going on. I understand that they want to be secretive, and I understand that they have this idea of like, we don't want to run everything by committee. What's weird to me, though, about that is that Nomura seems kind of against that idea. Not against the idea of secretiveness. Like, I don't think he necessarily runs around screaming Kingdom Hearts spoilers on the subway, or on the train or anything. But, like, I think that he is protective of the story and wants the story to be good. You even see things like Smash Bros, like you hear some of the things behind the scenes. It's like it was more Nomura wanting to protect Sora, right? And we know that he cares. But at the same time, you look at some of the decisions like Kingdom Hearts 3, Roxas, things like that, right? He has said that one of the reasons that he went that way was fans. He has said that he watches videos, like the kind of videos you and I make talking about Kingdom Hearts. He watches YouTubers talk about it. He sees what people think, and that does influence the story. It doesn't completely, throw out his script, but he looks at what the fandom thinks. He says, okay, well, I care what you guys think. You guys love this like I do. And he does take that into account. So it's weird to me with Kingdom Hearts in specific, where you have a creator like that at the forefront who loves fan feedback, wants to do right by the fans, but then you don't really get any fan communication. I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on that. Do you think that's just a Square thing?
I think as time has gone on with like social media and whatnot, sadly, it's just become, I think it's an industry thing. Even moving from, it still happens, Game Awards and all that stuff, right? Of games that are 3, 4, 5 years out being announced, 3, 4, 5 years out, and mainly to attract talent, right? People to work on it. But because of leaks, because of things that just get out so easily, I think this is just my theory, but I do think it's rooted in truth. Like things do get out easier. And it is true, like companies have set PlayStation, Sony being one of them, like the ideology is to not announce games too early, is to hold off on like the marketing push, right? 6-8 months of just full-on marketing right before a game comes out. It used to be you could do it for a year and a half, 2 years. It used to be you could announce games further out. Nowadays, it's shrinking, and part of that actually, I got to be honest, like announcing a game 2 years before it comes out versus 4. I actually prefer to announce it 2. And in that way, Square Enix kind of does it, at least with Kingdom Hearts. They do a little backwards sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the secrecy and all that stuff, or the way that they've because I don't know. I don't care about the secrecy, I guess, but it does get you in a path of what we're getting with Kingdom Hearts, where it's kind of a mix of like you announce it too early. There's clearly development issues with Missing Link, right? So it's like a couple things added on top. Specifically, I think with Missing Link, and then also probably Kingdom Hearts 4.
Kingdom Hearts 4 is a very weird one because that was announced so early in comparison to seeing really anything about it. We've seen basically nothing. For the most part, we've seen like a sketch here and there. Nomura does drop a sketch. His art style is beautiful. He did do the anniversary celebration sketch, obviously, back when it was announced, and with the different versions of Sora. I love that. Thought it was beautiful. But overall, like, we don't really hear anything about that game as of late 2024. We're in early December. Maybe they'll drop some crazy teaser before the end of the year. I doubt it, but maybe. But it's something where it's like, it reminds me of Kingdom Hearts 3. And Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm hoping this isn't the case for 4. Allegedly, Kingdom Hearts 3 had a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes where, it was originally going to be kind of a different engine type game, or like a different style, and they changed it. So maybe you can talk about that for just a minute, because I know you're more tuned into that aspect of it, and I think that's interesting. We don't know if anything like that's happening with 4. Let's just assume it's not. But my point is, this isn't the first time that a numbered title, which, they reserve for the most important drops of the series, has been announced. It's gone radio silence, and then all of a sudden it's like, what happened to this game? Where is it? I think a lot of people are worried about 4 because of seeing that situation with 3.
Yeah, no, we're repeating the past for some reason. With 3, so there was the engine change, right? With 3, they lost, I believe, it's about 2 years. I think it was about 2 years of time that they lost. So you could have got Kingdom Hearts 3 2 years earlier if they stayed on the engine they were on. So that's not the case with 4. So they're good, or they should be good, I guess. But it's the longer it goes, I'm trying to get because it's just so shocking to me. I'm having a freaking stroke on air. The longer this goes, it becomes more upsetting, because it's like you should have learned from 3. Even though 3 could have come out, say a year or two earlier than it did, it's still, they announced it, 7-8 years or whatever it was before it ended up coming out. So why you would do that again? I mean, with every passing year, it's another year for Kingdom Hearts 4, right? I hope 2026 is, which I think would be 5 years maybe after it was shown. That's not ideal. That's like a Wonder Woman, Star Wars Eclipse type thing for me. I don't like that, especially nowadays. And like you said, we've already done this. We did this with Kingdom Hearts 3. I really would have preferred we didn't do it again with 4.
So this is going to come off negative. Here's a couple of different things, though, that I think add to the frustration of being a Kingdom Hearts fan. First off is the availability of the games. So we took a look at, the game news and stuff from this year, which actually I should mention one more thing before we get into this. Nomura's retirement, or supposed retirement. Alex, do you have thoughts on this at all real quick? Because I would say that this was an interesting year for this to come up in an interview where Nomura, who's kind of the architect of this, he said, I'm bringing in new writers, I'm bringing in other people who understand Kingdom Hearts, they're working on it too. I think part of the reasons he's doing that is because I think he knows, even if he has an ending, that Disney will want more Kingdom Hearts. So I think that he wants to kind of stack the deck so it's people who care, people who know the series, people who know what fans want, things like that. But like in a year of uncertainty, games being delisted, games being delayed, no news on Kingdom Hearts 4, what do you think about that news coming up real quick, Alex? Because I think that this maybe was not the best year for that.
Yeah, no, I'll rapid fire it. Just sad, very, it's going to be a sad day, when that man leaves. He's deserved it. He's been around for freaking ever and he's very talented. He's given us a lot. But, with that being said, not a great year for that to come out. And I personally think he's telling the truth. I personally think he's got maybe 5, 6, 7 years left, which is really like 2 games, Kingdom Hearts 4. And I believe the plan. And we've talked about this, I think, even in the past, probably in our own videos. I think the plan is Kingdom Hearts 4, Kingdom Hearts 5. I think this game is going to lead to the end game that he will write, or maybe already has written, for Kingdom Hearts 5. He might leave right at the tail end of 5 or retire, and then that'll be it. That's as much as I honestly think we get from him. I think we get 0 spin-off games between, now and 5. I think we get 2 more main installment games, and that's it. With him, like you said, it seems like he's pretty smart. It seems like he mentors people quite well, and Square Enix does that in general. Like Hamaguchi, who does Final Fantasy VII Remake, he was kind of brought up in that system as well. So I think the idea is, they want like their own, they're cultivating their own talent. That's what I think. I mean, short and sweet. I think he has a plan to kind of hand it off to other people. He wants to finish the Sora arc, and then heaven forbid Disney keeps going, which I think they will. It'll be up to other people, to continue it after its definitive ending point. That I think he will end it, and then Disney will do that annoying thing where they continue it. But I think as fans, we'll know, okay, this is the end of Nomura and what he wanted. The rest maybe is just like fan fiction. We're talking 6, 7 years from now, but that's what I think is going to happen.
So then my question for you with that is, do you think that he is really working to wrap up Sora's story in particular? Like, do you think so do you think that Sora will even have a place in this franchise after him? Because I feel like Sora being the mascot for so long, I think Nomura's idea is the games are going to keep going. I want to end Sora because that's my baby, that's my brainchild. I love that guy. I want to end him on the note I want to leave him on, and Disney can keep making their games. There's so many Keyblade wielders out there, so many potential worlds. Obviously, the universe isn't going to explode at the end of the story, so like there's more stories that can be told, but I want Sora done. But then do you think that Disney will let Sora go? I don't.
No. Yeah, no. He said that Sora is Kingdom Hearts, that there is no Kingdom Hearts without Sora. So I think his plan will be to end Sora and what we know as Kingdom Hearts. And then Disney will say, nope. They might, you could try like a Birth by Sleep 2. That would be like a cool little like a in-between type thing that Disney could, want them to do afterwards. So you could do that. But yeah, I think it's going to be very uncomfortable. Like Kingdom Hearts 6 or Kingdom Hearts, maybe they'll reboot and just call it freaking Kingdom Hearts. It's going to get, I'm enjoying the ride because we're almost done. And it's so sad. I grew up with, both of us, right? We grew up with this game. I got Kingdom Hearts 2 for my 10th birthday. I'll never forget that memory. It's ending. And that's what his, going back to what started this, him announcing that like we know like people don't live forever and people don't make games forever. This is truly the beginning of the end. Like I truly believe 2 games, because I think he's going to do like 6, 7 years. That's only enough to make 1 more game after 4. So I really think this is it, and that's it makes me very sad to even think of it.
I hope that it goes well. I know you do too. I know you're not sitting here crossing your fingers like you hope it crashes and burns without him.
Oh no. No.
We both want it to do good, but I think that both of us are really hesitant, because even with a different series, like you look at Metal Gear, you look at how tied in Hideo Kojima was to that, and like how people are rejecting the idea of that series without him, like a lot of people. There were other writers, by the way. There were other co-directors of some of those games. There were people who were also responsible in some ways equally for success, but because he was the face and the guy that everyone knew, a lot of people don't trust that. I think Nomura's even more that. Like, he's even more like centrally tied to every aspect of Kingdom Hearts. And I think that without him, you lose a lot of that faith in the franchise. So I completely agree with you. Really quick, there's a couple other things I wanted to mention because I really got through all the news of how frustrating 2024 was. But there are other elements that have made being a Kingdom Hearts fan frustrating, I would argue, since really the second game. And when I say the second game, I mean Chain of Memories. So ever since then, you had a fracturing of the game availability. There were some games that were exclusive to Nintendo. So you had Chain of Memories on Game Boy Advance, you had 358 Days on obviously DS, you had Coded on phones, then you had that on DS, you had some games on the PS2. There was like a whole leap between the PS2 with Kingdom Hearts 2. You had on the 3, you had some re-releases, obviously, with the HD remasters, but then 3 didn't come till the PS4. My long point here is, have you noticed, Alex, and I'm sure you have, and what are your thoughts on this, how frustrating it's been to try and collect these games and even, play them? Like, even now, if you want to play through Coded, unless you're going to emulate it with a DS emulator, or you want to play through 358, you're not playing those on the HD remasters, and you know why? Because it's just a cutscene compilation. It's not the actual game. So it's like, even to now, you can't sit down on one machine, I guess, except maybe PC with emulation, but it's not official releases for some of them. You can't sit down on one machine and play through the whole franchise.
Yeah, no, they've done an okay job recently of like with what they've done to themselves previously, right? They've done okay at the combinations, at the collections. Like, I think for everything they've stacked against them with, like you said, splitting it up on every single platform you can imagine, and then making it now where, it makes sense where you could only watch the cutscenes, right? So I guess what I'm saying, what they've done now is about as good as you could hope for with the bad that they've done in the past, right? Their entire past. And it's been frustrating. It's I'm very much into the lore. You are too. Like, it's important for us to, it's important for me, like, when a new game comes out, I like to just kind of rapid fire, whether it's watching cutscenes or, now I would say watching cutscenes is a bit easy because of the collection. You can just go through it. But if you're looking to, like, okay, 4 is coming out, I want to play, like, legitimately, controller in hand, I want to play through these games, it's next to impossible, right? It's not going to happen. And they did that. That's their actions over the last 20 plus years. So that's kind of just what's happened at this point. It's sad, and I think they've done the best they can going forward, and maybe they can do even better going forward. But yet again, then you have the Dark Road situation, so maybe they're not really learning, from what they've done in the past.
Yeah, and I think that with that too, it becomes even more frustrating when there's people who couldn't get their hands on a lot of these games, like, for example, Nintendo Switch, and then it comes out with that cloud launch, which was a real mess. It's just unfortunate. I think my final point, because I don't want to take it on for 30 minutes or anything, my final point would be that I kind of think that the fandom has been a little critical of Kingdom Hearts' gameplay elements over the years because of how quiet the development is. Like, I think that, and this is just my hypothesis, if the games came out a little more quickly, or there was a little more, transparency, I don't think you'd have some of the criticisms that were heavily levied against, like, Kingdom Hearts 3. Where people are looking at other games and they're looking at the things those games are doing and saying, hey, why isn't Kingdom Hearts doing this? Even things like the way photo mode was incorporated, or like the lack of a customizable Sora, things like that. I think people look at other games that Square has dropped and other games that have come out, and I think that Kingdom Hearts has gotten a heavier load of criticism because of fan frustration. And that's not to say that people can't criticize the games. There's things I love or dislike about all of them. But I guess I kind of want your thoughts on that real quick, Alex. Would you say that, like, fan frustration around this series is probably higher, where, you have more, I don't want to say nitpicking, but, like, people are more aware of what they don't like because they felt like they had to wait from the time that they were 15 to the time they were 35 to get a sequel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. I think, when you were saying all that, my go-to, and I'll make it really quick, is Yakuza, the Like a Dragon. They are the best at just cranking them out. And they come out yearly, sometimes twice a year. They are long. It's not like they're short. A lot of them can be very, very long games, whether the shorter ones are 20, 30 hours, longer ones can be 60, 70, 80 hours. And I've become a massive, very knowledgeable, I think, also fan of that franchise in the last 2 years or so. Why Kingdom Hearts can't do what that does, and it's exactly to your point. When you come out yearly, you kind of get used to things, and you kind of say, okay, you're going to have those asset flips, but at the same time, they're going to be able to do other things. Like, some things are going to evolve as time goes on, or you have just like a rock solid idea that constantly gets kind of added to. So like the combat of Yakuza is always good, doesn't change too much year over year over year. But you know what? If you played one 5 years ago to now, you could notice things. And Kingdom Hearts, I honestly think, the more I think about it, those two franchises could be so close because they're heavy on story, they're heavy on characters, and repeating things kind of as well. So why Kingdom Hearts can't do it, I honestly don't know. I think a lot of people would take similar gameplay, similar areas, like locations, and you could do it every other year or every year, even if you were crazy, and you could see the changes, year over year, but they wouldn't be that big. But it allows you to tell so many stories. Yakuza has told so many amazing stories with so many great characters and built really great characters because they've done so many. And Kingdom Hearts, so my final point, the last thing I'll say, to your point, when you build up over 7-8 years and you don't have games over that length, there's of course going to be more, they're going to be more critical, right? Because there's only so many games. So when you have Kingdom Hearts 4 come out, well, you haven't had a game since 3, and 3, you didn't have a game since God knows when before then, right? So the expectation is so much higher because it's taken you so long.
Yeah, I think that's really true. And I think that kind of a final point building off of that, Yakuza was such a great point to bring up. When you look at a Yakuza game, let's say a game came out and it didn't do a feature you wanted the way you wanted it to, that connected with you, there's going to be the next one. You're not going to wait until... There are people who were teenagers that when, the Xemnas was becoming the villain of Kingdom Hearts 2 and you were going into the world that never was. There were people that were in high school when that happened who have kids. And, they have kids that are in school now and stuff when you had Kingdom Hearts 3 coming out and news of Kingdom Hearts 4 later on and stuff like that. There are so many fans. I even saw fans saying things like, I don't really have time anymore, and that sucks. I think it really, I can't imagine giving up video games. Maybe I'm just an addict, but like I saw people saying like, I wish this came out 10 years ago when I had time to play it. And so it's like, I also think that's my final point that I wanted to ask you about is like, I know Kingdom Hearts is massively popular, but do you also feel like there's a bit of a frustration where people's lives changed in that time too, and now it's different for them?
Yeah, no, I mean, we grew up with Sora, and and we've grown actually past Sora. So I'm one of those people. I got Kingdom Hearts 2 when I was 10, and my 10th birthday. I have a kid. She's in school. I'm a grown adult, almost 30 or 28. That's almost. But yeah, I mean, lives, we get older. We get much older, and these games are still cranking, but they take so long. So yeah, things just they're different now. I would like to be 12, 13 playing Kingdom Hearts 4, but I might be 40 by the time that comes out.
We love Kingdom Hearts. We love Nomura. We love the work. We love that they actually take fan feedback into consideration in this franchise. It feels like one of the few that does actually listen to like people say things like, hey, we love Roxas, where is he? And someone like Nomura will be like, you know what? I love him too. That's a great point. I think we love the way a lot of things are handled with the franchise. We love the story, the characters, the worlds, the gameplay. It's just that there are a lot of elements that make it frustrating to be a fan that I think have pushed some people away from the games over the years, which was kind of my goal to talk about with this. So I wonder if you have any closing thoughts before we wrap it up.
Yeah, well, love the franchise. It's one of my favorites. And, well, no, I mean, honestly, just echoing what you said. I mean, ultimately, I just want them more frequently. That's kind of it. And his retirement, it's coming up quick. And it kind of just puts that spotlight on, yeah, this has really not been managed. I think that's fair to say. Kingdom Hearts as a whole, in its entire franchise, has been handled pretty badly with spin-offs and maybe even going too far with spin-offs. And I mean, it was an age where you could do those kind of fast, right? But just getting away from the numbered titles to kind of build the world beyond what it was already built, fracturing that fan base because now you have to play all of them. It's always been actually a pretty messy franchise, to be honest. It's maybe part of the reason why I love it, though, right? So it's always a mixed thing. I hate those parts about it, but at the same time, I'll never not love Kingdom Hearts.
I want to say first off, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you being in the video. That means a lot to me, so thank you very much for that.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
And I do want to say real quick, you know, all the normal ways to support this channel are in the description, but I really want to highlight Alex's stuff here because, you know, he's one of my best friends in the world, and I always appreciate having him on. So first off, he's got several channels, he's got podcasts now, but one of the ones I really want to draw your attention to as well with, you know, older games is Podcast Now Back to the Past. I think that that's really great. So all of these channels are going to be in the description down below, where you can check out Alex's stuff. He does good work. He's putting out videos basically every day. He's the Yakuza of YouTube, whereas I'm the Kingdom Hearts of YouTube. He's a lot quicker to get his releases out there. So, you know, Alex, thanks again for being here. I appreciate you, and thank you everybody for watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe, check out Alex's stuff in the description down below. Hope you have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shui.